Welcome, everybody, to All About Articulation, where we do a deeper dive into the articulation of some of your favorite action figures while glossing over things like sculpt, paint apps, character history, accessories, because I suck at that. There are already so many great reviews on YouTube who do that already, so I don't want to waste your time. And time is a terrible thing to waste. Today, we are reviewing the Mezco Spiderman 2099 action figure from Mezco Toys. This figure came out just this month, April, and I've been messing around with it, fiddling with it, playing around with it, posing it, going through the ringer, and I like it. I like it a lot. I don't love it, but it's a good figure. In terms of the sculpt and the detail and the accessories that it comes with a bunch of hands and a couple of heads. And I decided to do the review with the unmasked head because I think everybody's reviewing it with the masked head or the semi-masked head. So I thought, hey, let's switch it up a little bit and review it with the unmasked Miguel O'Hara head. The different heads do not hinder or change the articulation in any way, shape, or form. So I figured, why not give you guys a different sort of visualization and do the unmasked? The sculpt and the paint is fantastic. I got no complaints about that, but why I don't love this figure is that it's not a great, the articulation is not great, especially for a Spiderman character. If you compare it to the old Mezco symbiote Spider-Man, you could see right off the bat that the build is a lot slimmer on the symbiote Spider-Man as opposed to the new 2099 Miguel O'Hara. He's got a bigger, sort of wider, bulkier, more musculature body type that they've used, the base buck that they used. And that comes into play when we get into the articulation. So let me put Symbiote Spider-Man in the back for a little bit, or Black Suit Spider-Man, depending on which. Yeah, I know. I guess it's because of the white on the back of the hands. This is technically Black Suit, right? Yeah. Anyway, Black Suit, Symbiote, I use that interchangeably. I know some of you comic book purists, I really should be more specific in my usage, but I just use it interchangeably. Anyway, 2099 Miguel O'Hara. So, like I said, it doesn't matter which head you use. All three heads are the same in terms of articulation. He does get a good amount of movement, as you can see. It's double 2 points, one of the lower neck down here, one of the upper neck over there. Let me just do a quick measurement. How tall does he stand? So he stands right at 6.5 inches, as you can see. Right at 6.5. Right at 6.5. And if you have the old Spider-Man, they stand just about the same. So height-wise, he's a little bit taller. Actually, I take that back. He stands a little bit taller, but for all intents and purposes, they're very similar in height. His neck and head has the typical ball joint, as you can see there. So it's a very familiar point of articulation, and you get a good amount of movement, a good amount of range. Goes all the way around. He can look up that much, not too far. If you isolate his torso, that's about as far up as you can go. Down, by just utilizing the upper neck articulation, only that far. And if you isolate the bottom of the neck, he can get down. Wait, hold on, let me hold that tight. He can get. Yeah, there's not a lot of motion too on the. Oh no, I take that back. There is. There we go. That's about far down as you go. And then if you isolate, and if you utilize both upper and lower neck articulation, he can go down that far. But not that far up. That's about as far up as you can get. Okay. Of course, you know, it goes all the way around. We don't need to see that. Okay, let's look at T-pose, shoulders. There is, I can feel a butterfly joint underneath the costume, his suit, but I don't, there's nothing to I can't access it. So there's no, for all intents and purposes, there is no butterfly joint. But he can go up, all the way up. So as a T-pose, it's a Y pose actually. But I would never leave this in this position. I would never leave him in this position for long because of the bunching up of the soft goods on the sleeves, right at the shoulders. That's a definite no-no. And also, there's the vinyl on the shoulders. There's vinyl, as you can see, all throughout the upper torso and the arms. So be careful when you're posing them. Normally, I would just speed through the rotation of the arms going up, because you normally on other figures, Marvel Legends, for example, Mayfex, they can go all the way around. But because of soft goods, you can't go all the way around without the fabric tugging. And I would say it does go up that far. Any further than that, you would have to sort of manipulate the sleeve a little bit, and you can go further back. So if you wanted to have them pose like this, you can, but you just have to be very, very careful. Of course, all Mezco figures, you got to be very careful because of the soft goods. And as you can see, it's already sort of creasing there. You see that? And just by that little motion that I did, that little posing, it's already sort of leaving creases on the vinyl. So be careful. Be careful. All right, we did the T-pose / Y pose, double jointed elbows. Oh, there's bicep swivel. Let me just tell you about that. And the base body, of course, underneath the suit, the swivel would go all the way around, but because of the sleeve, the outer costume, it would hinder it up to a point. But you can get them to pose and articulate pretty decently. Just again, any Mezcos that you have, be very careful leaving them in very, very articulated poses for long periods of time, because you don't know how that's going to stretch or manipulate or ruin the soft goods clothing. Okay, double jointed elbows. Let's go on this side. We do a lot of his right side. Let's do his left side. He's got double jointed elbows that you can, that you can bend to that far. I would say that's, gosh, that's past 45. That's almost like a 35, would you say? Right, 35, that's 90. And this is 45. This goes down to about 35, 25 maybe. So you get a lot of good range on the elbow bend. The wrist pegs are general, very familiar fare for Mezcos. It's the wrist hinge with the peg. One thing to note though, that it's different on the Spidey 2099 figure, as opposed to say other Mezcos, like I'll bring in Black Suit over here. If you pull off his arm here and take a look at the wrist peg here, the sleeve ends before the ball joint, as opposed to Miguel over here, the sleeve extends past the ball. So why that's worthy to note is that it does sort of, it doesn't hinder it. It doesn't hinder wrist joint articulation. Got to get it in first. It doesn't hinder the joint articulation, but it could sort of, I want to say, slow it down a little bit. So he could still hit all the poses. Well, any wrist pose you want to do. You want to go up, he can go up. You want to go down, he can go down. Side to side, no problem. But that sleeve, that fabric, the extended fabric of that sleeve can get in the way, and it can sort of make the hands pop off a little bit easier, as you saw, just by moving it around, just by articulating it this way, it comes off. You just got to be a little bit careful. So it's a bit of an annoyance, but it doesn't hinder the articulation. You can still get all the wrist angles that you may want, as opposed to, say, black suit Spider-Man. Once you put that in, and it doesn't come off. You see? So it's just a little bit of difference of that sleeve. Black suit Spider-Man, the sleeve stops at the beginning of the ball joint. 2099, it extends past it, and that's why that'll cause the hands to pop off easier when you're moving it around. But it doesn't stop the hand from getting to any sort of pose that you want. So just something to point out. Okay, let's get to the abdomens and the lower bodies. You stand in the back there. So ab joint. All right, abdominals. He's got 2 points in the abs, upper and lower, typical Mezco. 2 ball joints. Isolating the upper ab, he can bend down that much and extend his back that far, not too far back. All right, and if we isolate just for the lower abs, he can bend down this much, and he can extend his back that much, a lot. Go back, he can extend his back a lot further. Now, ab crunch, utilizing both upper and lower, he can go down this far, and he can extend his back that far back. So he's got a great range of motion for his ab, for the ab crunches. The hips, he can kick forward this much. Not too far up. He can't kick too far up when you're just using the hip joint. But you could kind of fudge it if you bend him forward a little bit. So it creates the illusion that he can kick much higher up. You see? When he's standing straight and he kicks forward, it's just an L shape, right? That's as far up as it goes. But then when you cheat and use that ab crunch for your photography or you're posing on your shelf, you create that V, and it just creates the illusion that he's kicking a lot higher up, a lot further up than he normally could. All right, so that's his front kick. That's his back kick. He can't go back at all. I'm literally pushing it, and nothing on the back kick. As compared to Spider, he can't really kick. That's about far back as black suit can go. But 2099, not at all. That's it. Here he goes. He's split. Once again, the ankle articulation is pretty atrocious. So his Glen Webb, as far down as he can go, doing a split with both feet flat on the ground, is about that. Only because of the ankles, not because of the hips. If he were to do a split, he can go down that far. Okay? What else? Oh yeah, the knees. Double jointed knees, fantastic. Kick his own butt. That's all I can ask for. Yeah, so now, once again, the ankles. He's got good pivot. He can pivot. Well, not good pivot. He's got pivot. That's all I can say. Not good, not great. He's got pivot. He could point his toes upward just about that much. That's it. So if he's standing in a neutral position and you wanted to point your toes up, you can go this far. And if you wanted to point his toes down, like a ballet dancer, you can go that far. That's it. Mezco is not known for their figures to have great ankle articulation, so this is it's his usual Mezco ankle fare. Okay, how long has this video been going on for? 15 minutes. Okay, I guess I'll wrap it up there for this figure. Oh, yeah. And the reason why I don't love it is because this is how I like my Spider-Man to pose. He can hit these crazy, pretzel-y, you know, yoga-y, whatever word you want to use, poses as per Spider-Man. He's like a gymnast, like a ballerina superhero guy who's does yoga on the weekends. Like that's how I like my Spider-Man. Now I know Miguel O'Hara, he's not exactly Peter Parker, but still, he's a Spider-Man figure, you know? And I like him to be a little bit more, just a tad more range in the articulation. He's got all the articulation points. Every point of articulation that he has, but it's just the range doesn't translate. The legs don't kick as high as I wanted to. The neck doesn't go as far back as I wanted to. And he's a bit bulkier than I prefer. But I'm not complaining too much because I do like the figure overall. I just gotta be careful, Mezco, because it's so delicate. Oh. Not a lot of twist here either, but he photographs fantastic. So if you're thinking about doing photography and you want to get a guy who looks great on camera, I mean, the colors are fantastic. Okay, that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys are having fun collecting your figures. Remember, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. See you guys later.